I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide. We move forward like soldiers.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome in to a new era. We're ringing the bell on a new era of Sports Money Network. That is Pregaming at 5 p.m. We're going to try it out. I promised you guys that we would be evaluating everything, including time slots. And it seemed like some of you guys had some really positive feedback to share about moving to 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. I chose 5 p.m. I thought this is a good window for us to be able to get out there, get the look at this cash flow splits, take the time that's necessary. There's some college basketball games starting at 6 p.m., especially as they get into divisional play. We'll start at, they'll start at 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m. It don't matter what p.m. We are rounding down the final couple of weeks before the big dance that is March Madness. So excited to be here with you guys here today. I'm still working on a graphic change. I told you guys there's a battle going on with X. That battle includes throttling our views, and we cannot have that. So let's get to it, though. We've got, lots of good things happening here in the world of sports money. First of all, America. Heck yeah, gets the job done. Here's what I didn't realize. How salty and excuse-driven Canadians are. But that's a different story. You guys have heard all about it. They're talking about the better team. Here's the bottom line. You can tell whiny, cheeky Sheilas when they don't talk about the Four Nations tournament. That was a 3-on-3 overtime game. Why doesn't that one count? This USA. And then I see some people that said, oh, the NHL players shouldn't be in the Olympics. Look what happens. They get hurt. Then they're saying, why is it 3-on-3? It should be 5-on-5 in perpetuity. We can't have it both ways. What are we talking about here? It's not the NHL. It's not the Stanley Cup playoffs. It is a once every 4-year opportunity to highlight and showcase the best hockey that's out there. So these bums went from don't put the NHL players in there, the early round robin seeding is irrelevant, to we want unlimited 5-on-5 overtime, like the NHL Stanley Cup Game 7. Just shut up and enjoy what you saw out there. That was some really great hockey. USA beat Canada, both men's and women's, 2-1. So you guys saw that. Kind of an interesting spot, though, huh? 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. I was done by 11:15 a.m. I was sitting there. I'm like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now for the rest of the day? So I started capping some NASCAR. It didn't go the way I wanted it to. I had it was like 3/4 of a unit that was invested on trying to get these guys to win, plus another unit on some top 10. So a couple of shots that look close, but NASCAR's still starting. I like to play around with it, so I will do that. But golf was good to us. Went 2-1 in golf this weekend. We generated 4.1 units. Also, I gave you guys Jack Knapp on Friday here. I said, look, I gave him out. I think it was 375 or something like that. I can't remember. 325 maybe. Anyhow. I think it was 325. And then I gave him out here live on the show on Friday. He was around 275. I said, I still like him. I'd still take him to finish inside the top 10. He got the job done. So cashed a little golf action. And I like this style of golf. Now, Kalshi wise, we did have a great Kalshi run. What you want to see come Saturday is all your guys in the top 10, because it just afforded the ability to cash out with all of them and get that money. So 300% gain for me in the Kalshi arena. Plus, then I took all that money and I dropped on Sean Strickland to win at 3-1 on the UFC on Saturday, UFC Houston. And he did. So it was a great weekend for me and for Kalshi. Plus, I went out there last night. I put they were shit odds. They were like 62 cents, but Portland to win and the Boston Celtics to win. The Celtics smashed to our guy, Nasty Nate. So we're going to do more of it, you guys. I have been looking into it. I've been trying to find some of the spots that I think make a lot of sense. Dollars and cents for this Kalshi thing here because, hey, 2 weeks in and we're over 300% gain. So, I mean, why wouldn't we stay focused on getting it done? And get it done. We did on the UFC again. My winnable was about 500. It wasn't great. I thought I had some KO round one spots that just didn't come through, but a couple dogs cashed. It was a good event. All in all, it was a good event. We did make some money out there, so that's all that really matters when it's all said and done, especially the Sean Strickland spot there. Like, you got to appreciate it. And some guys will sit there and say, like, oh, this guy's never been knocked out before. This guy's only a submission guy. Well, you know what? When they stand there and tell you that they're going to stand and bang, they're not really head faking you, especially when you get a whack job like Sean Strickland that says, I'm a fighter. I'm a boxer. I got more of that Mexican fighting spirit in me than Fluffy Hernandez. And he did. He went out there and he showed everybody exactly what he was going to do. And he said it, he did it, and we cashed on it. So it was a good UFC run. And look, I tallied it up since the All-Star break, coming back from the All-Star break, and the NBA plays over on Winnable Free Plays and Premium Plays are 12-2 sides and totals. 12-2 sides and totals. That's 14 plays since the All-Star break, 12-2. Had a little mini sweep on Saturday. It was a 2-0. I think yesterday was 3-1. Friday was 2-1. Matter of fact, I got them written down. I know Thursday was 3-0. I mean, we've just been dotting the I's and crossing the T's when it comes to the NBA. So that's what I expected. That's where we need to be firing. Now, the NHL will be back on Wednesday. We'll see what happens with some of these Olympic players and how they play out there. I think they've got like a 6-game card on Wednesday. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it rains through for us. But hey, you know what? I gave it out as a free play as well today. Look, I told you last year, 152.5 units in the MLB season. We started off 1-0. Had a preseason baseball play. The St. Louis Cardinals walk it off in the 9th inning, and yep, we cashed it. So, want to know to start preseason baseball. Got some tennis, got some soccer. We got some other alternate sports taking place throughout the course of the week that we'll be talking about as well. So, I'm going to shrink down the wide portfolio of bets on, say, a big college basketball card. Try to be a little more selective. Try to cherry pick just the 2 or 3 that I really, really like, and then load up with some of these other spots too. Like I said, Major League Baseball is coming around the corner here. A little over a month, I'd imagine, till we get the season to start there. College basketball is coming down to it with the tournament. I did promise you guys it's going to work on the Final Four prediction. I think we have a good start in the college basketball Final Four. We're looking at Arizona being a Final Four team. We're looking at Duke being a Final Four team. We're looking at Michigan being a Final Four team. Arizona, Duke, and Michigan. And we have an at-larger. It's Houston, but it could be Illinois, it could be UConn, it could be Florida. After tonight, it could be Kansas. But I don't know about Kansas. I don't know if we're going to get that cute there. But that's what it's looking like. Now, I did tell you guys about the NBA finals here. I predict Eastern Conference finals will be the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knickerbockers. I think the Pistons will prevail, and they will play the winner of the Spurs and the OKC Thunder. I think it will be the Spurs. And guess what's playing tonight? The first matchup of the season. I'm going to give you guys my prediction. I've got a side and a total for the Spurs and Pistons here to kick off the card tonight in the NBA. I've got action in the Kings and Grizzlies. It's only a 3-game NBA card. I've got 3 plays for you. So that's all I can do. Then we'll get into college hoops, and it's like an 8-game college basketball card. So it's not even a huge card over there. We've got Nichols and Lamar, Nichols State and Lamar. We've got Incarnate Word and Northwestern State. An unbelievable trend. You'll have to hear it to believe it. Then we've got New Orleans and Stephen F. Austin, our squad here. Show play Stephen F. Austin. Will we get there today is the question. And then last but not least, the big one, the epic battle. Potentially a Big 12 prequel, a preview to the Big 12 championship in Houston and Kansas. Potentially we'll talk about that as well. So that's the way we go. Andrew K says Louisville versus North Carolina. How about Florida? I have Florida in there as a look. We kind of all agree. Well, Ramon and I were talking a little bit about it on Saturday, right? We kind of talked about Houston should be the spot. They always kind of choke when it comes down to it. And we like what's going on with Illinois. We like what's going on with Florida. And we both agreed that UConn, a little bit underrated right now. So doesn't mean that any of these other teams can't find a way to get through. It's just that for us in this position, it just seemed like those were the spots that jumped out to us. Now, why is that important? Why are we talking Final Four before they even get done with the regular season? Because I think if you start your bracket, at least I'm going to try a new theory. I'm going to start a new theory, which is me putting my Final Four teams as long as they're not in the same bracket, right? As long as they're not in the same 32, 64, whatever the case is there. As long as they're not in the same quadrant, I guess is the challenge. That's the word that I was searching for. As long as they're not in the same quadrant, then I will break my bracket down that way. Now, some of you guys may be looking for bracket action, and the SCN is back. It is ready to attack, and they do have March Madness brackets. I will post it in the community post over on on YouTube, the YouTube side of things. And I suspect that going forward, we will drop one of the two Twitter posts. We will get Instagram out there. I think it's going to be Instagram. Either Instagram or TikTok. I don't know. Instagram or TikTok. One of them is going to be a spot where we're going to host our live platform as well. I'm just redesigning the graphic because, unfortunately, they do not provide the full screen like you see here on YouTube. It's a centralized view, and all the sides get cut off. So I'm trying to make a common platform because on StreamYard, you can only use one overlay, and then it just feeds to the different sites. So I want to get it right. I want to make sure that it's a pleasant viewing experience for everybody. But let's see. What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything from this past weekend? I don't think so. I think that kind of brings it to a head. Did I mention Team USA won? Yes. Did I mention that some of our northern brethren are softies? Yes. But it's all good. It's all fun. We're ready to attack out there, you guys. I hope you are as well here. Again, new show. It's 5 p.m. It's a tight marketplace. You could be anywhere else, but we're going to stack some wins up here. So if you guys keep showing up, I will keep putting out dubs. Keep trying to put out winning plays. And that's that. And that's all I have to say about that. How about that? What do you guys think about that? What do you think about the new time slot? Leave me a comment post show. Like I said, it's going to give me an opportunity to do some clips, take some shorts, take some of these bigger games later on in the night and try to push them out around some of the other social spaces to continue to grow the sports money community. So it is a new time. It is the same channel. It is the same trends and angles, cash flow analysis, line movement, splits from the Vegas side of things here, and anything else that we can use to try to create a gambling edge, to create an informed betting strategy. This week in front of us, you guys know the deal. We've got VB MMA Picks and Ramon Scott recording the UFC for Mexico, UFC Mexico kicking off and getting after it. Then we've got that'll be a spot for you guys to catch 3, maybe 4 fight breakdowns to get you prepped and ready to go for Saturday's big live show. Throughout the week, we'll be at 5 p.m. here for pre-gaming. You'll find Ramon Scott at 9 a.m. doing the morning steam, getting the first look out of Las Vegas with regards to overnight movement. Remember, 3 lines that we look for. The first one, overnight. Limits are on. Where are the consortiums coming in? Where are the syndicates smacking? Then we see, typically around noon is that limits are off, books are open for business, and we will take a look at 5 p.m. and try to see what makes the most sense for our action of the evening. And then, of course, we'll be live here and there and everywhere, but we will certainly be live Saturdays, 4:45 p.m., getting into the UFC. New graphics. I wonder if anybody liked the new graphics from. Try to do something different to keep them on the screen for you guys, to keep you visually engaged more so than just looking at, our esteemed UFC panel. So, I wanted to make a tennis play here this afternoon. Speaking of which, because it is coming down to that time of year, but it's expensive. So let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can come to the table with for some options here. It's WTA I wanted to get involved with. WTA Merida. See, she's expensive. Expensive. All right, here's what we're going to do. All right. Yep. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Katie Boulter at minus 224. She's playing Haddad Maya. We're going to take Katie Boulter. We're going to parlay her with Potapova, Anastasia Potapova. They both play tonight at the WTA Merida. And those should be around a minus 105 when you parlay them together. I was looking at some of these other, like, did I want to get, the men's, they roll tomorrow in Dubai. Acapulco's running tonight. But again, big lines. This is going to be a tough week of betting. Just if you guys haven't looked ahead, if you haven't done the look ahead spots yet, the UFC's got a lot of minus 400 spots. The tennis are certainly minus 400 spots as well. So we have our work cut out for us. But any event, let's get to it. You guys know the deal. We want to get these picks out the door for you guys to get the score. And going to try to build out this 5. We'll see. We'll see how this 5 p.m. platform works for us. But if you haven't done so already, it don't matter if it's 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 9 a.m. The most important thing you can do is smash that thumbs up button. Show some love and support to the sports money community. Help us build this thing. Get that recognition out there. And frankly, nobody smashes the like button like you guys. So if you haven't done so already, take a second, give it a crack, and we'll get to work. I am looking at a whiteout outside. Hopefully all of our friends and family in the Northeast along the way of that, what do they call it? The snow cyclone, the snow bomb, whatever it's called. Hope you guys are safe and sound, especially our guy Nasty Nate out there in Rhode Island. Now, we agreed that we were going to annex Rhode Island and give it to, I forgot who we were giving it to. We were giving it to somebody else, but it doesn't mean that he's not in our thoughts and prayers here with a nasty winter weather storm kicking up here at the end of February. But thoughts and prayers. Everybody be safe. Listen, no unnecessary driving, right? Unless you consider donuts in an empty school parking lot in reverse. Do them in reverse, not forward. That's what I can share with you from my youth as a young fella. Getting off the team bus in a high school parking lot. Donuts in reverse were a lot of fun. But anyway, be safe, be careful. Shout out to everybody that is here. Nicholas Handy is checking in right off the hop. I like to see that. Nicholas Handy says, it was a good call on Strickland. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. Andrew K says, Louisville in North Carolina. How about Florida? Jerry Davis says, at Mikey McNeese and Stephen F. Austin have zero conference tournament seeding motivation. They're laying big spreads against teams performing well. I'm on both dogs, says Jerry Davis. And Andrew K says Ramon is dedicated. He is dedicated. That's what we like about Ramon Scott. There's a lot of things that we like about Ramon Scott. He's passionate. We like his passion as well. So that's a little sneak peek of what you guys can expect here in the short term. We will probably have I'll probably do a bracket show. I'll probably do once they have the seating, I'll probably put a public bracket together with you guys. Take a little work to do it, but hey, we got time. We got the opportunity in front of us. I'm looking forward to it. This is the best time of year for college basketball. And of course, the NHL and the NBA. And look, it's in the proof, the data. The data doesn't lie. It's only those shady scumbags on Twitter that are 9-1 in their last 10 that are liars. We are 12-2 and kicking ass and taking names. So that does get me fired up in the NBA. Certainly player props, starting to look at more of those as well. I had a player prop loss last night. I lost by 1 point. I was like, 1 point? Really? It's like a rounding error, but hey, it's all good. Let's get to some plays. Let's get everybody rolling here today. What do you say here? Let's kick it off in the NBA, the aforementioned power league that we are smashing and cashing with right now. And I think this is, again, a NBA championship preview. I've been talking about it for 2 weeks, so it's only right that we find a way to come in here and stick something on the old sports book tonight. And it's a great game. Now, history, without even opening up the notepad, tells us when the Pistons play a good team, they like to play some defensive basketball. The fact that these two teams haven't played yet kind of leaves us into a uncertain, no previous frame of reference to balance it against. But the books have a tendency to overinflate the Pistons. Yes, they started off as one of the best basketball teams in the league, which is crazy because OKC Thunder beat up everybody. They're just not covering. Problem with the Spurs is they had issues with things like Victor Wembanyama. Well, he's back. They put up 139 points against the Sacramento Kings with Wemby in the backcourt. Cade Cunningham on Detroit. He's back. They put up 126 points against the Bulls. So on the surface, do we see a high-scoring affair or do we see a poker match? Now, I mentioned Wemby. You know, in that game against it's the Sacramento Kings, first of all. Let's just take a step back, right? He did go 28, 15, and 6. Easy double-double, almost a triple-double. And Cunningham, 18, 13, and 9. Again, almost another triple-double out there. So, prop lines, I found the props to be very difficult in this game, but I like this as a lower-scoring affair. I think for the first time they see each other, we know look, you got travel, you got the Monday factor inside of there as well. It's kind of a sleepy little sneak spot out there. A home under after a road over are 199 and 139 as well. So you got to look at it and say, hey, there is history that shows us we're looking for repeatable patterns, right? We're not just capping offense and defense. I was laughing over the weekend. I was like, shit, offense and defense almost doesn't even matter anymore. That's what's the difference here. Some of these guys that are still waiting to see the injury report, like, dude, the numbers are factored in. You just have to take a look at it. And then I think now the public betting means more than ever. So that being said, the Pistons, when they play Southwestern divisional opponents, tend to roll under as well. 61 and 42 still produces a 60% win rate. And that one has about 10 years of data behind it. So I like the lower scoring affair here. I think, yes, I know both these teams have the potential to be powerhouses, but I think because it's the first match of the season, that we see it be a little tighter to kick things off. And then as far as the side is concerned, I want the dog. I want the points. I think it is not a blowout situation for sure. I think both these teams want to keep it tight and close to the vest. And because of that, I'll take the points. Now, look, the Spurs, they've been a cover machine, you know, especially if you put the line like kind of between the tens, right? So like a competitively balanced game, as long as the Spurs are in a not expected to be a blowout one way or the other. I mean, they're 69 and 35. They find a way to go out there and cover. And if you fade the Pistons at home as a favorite after a win, this is the bounce back. Can they run it back 2 times in a row? The answer is no. You're 29 and 14 if you fade them Pistons at home after a win. You've caught 2 in a row. You know, yes, 6 and 4 in the last few bots there. But when you have the Pistons playing an above 600 team, so a winning team that's winning over 60%, they are 15 and 2 on the money line. It's a tight game. It was difficult to try to wedge a spot in there, but I think that in this case here, I expect the Spurs to win the National Basketball Association championship. And I think that What a better way for them to go out there and make a statement. Okay? Make a statement. And frankly, I'll give you another statement. How about the Aaron Fox over 5.5 assists? In a game here where I think they're going to be going, they're going to be flowing. The guy that feeds Wemby, the Aaron Fox. 12.1 potential assist over his last 10 games. He's averaging 6.3 on the season. Over 5.5 is the number to snag him at right now. And he's gotten at least 6 in every one of the big games that he's had out there, especially facing the East. So I think there's no reason De'Aaron Fox doesn't go out there and hook up Wembyana. And that's kind of how I correlated it here. I think it stays lower scoring. I think there's a lot of, dribbling and passing and moving and keeping the ball flowing around here, but neither team wants to show their hand early in the season as they expect it to be a big one. Now look, Cade Cunningham, I like his rebound number as well. I think that's a good look there. And now that kind of looks like a same game parlay. Maybe Cade Cunningham over 5.5 rebounds. De'Aaron Fox over 5.5 assists. The San Antonio Spurs plus 1.5 and the under. Get the under around 230.5. That'd be the way we kick off the NBA here. A big loaded card for that fun game. It's a small card, but there are some feature games that I think do make a lot of fun. So the way we will kick her off. Andrew K says Spurs and Pistons would be an excellent final. Jay Main's in the house. He's going to come out with some action. He says Aussie Thompson. 8 straight, 11 of his last 12, 13 and 15 at home. Oh, steals, 2 steals. It took me a second, dude. My bad. New time slot, same bad brain. Cameron Sinet's in the house. Has anyone checked on our Canadian cappers yet? He says they're making excuses. Everyone's upset. It was a 3-on-3 final. What a bad way to showcase the dude. Let me just ask you this. And I guess it kind of makes sense because the Canadians haven't really had to deal with much adversity in the lines of sports losing. They didn't handle that accusation of cheating well in curling. But if you have McDavid, McKinnon, and anybody, McCarr, are there 3 other? Who else would you rather put on the ice? You got speed, agility, size, and experience. It was so great watching that game, though, because I was like, man, all these dudes are playing on championship teams. They're always in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. So that was a lot of fun. But Jerry Davis says Jay Main tailed you on the Matherin, but at 9.5 plus 105. People helping people up in here. We like to see that. And so there you go, you guys. Loaded up. 1.5, the under 30.5. And I gave you guys a assist prop for De'Aaron Fox and a rebound prop for Cade Cunningham. So loaded to start the card. I thought there was something that just popped through my brain that I wanted to get involved with as well, but let me see. No, I guess not. It's tough. Look, it's a Monday. It's a sleepy little Monday post-Olympics. Let's not go hog wild on Monday. Let's just slowly accumulate wealth this week here as we fire it up. Our 1-0 started off. It was a free play, by the way. If you haven't gone over to Winnable, check it out. Winnable.com/Mikey Money. And I gave out a free baseball play today. St. Louis Cardinals walk off in the 9th inning. Cameron Sinet says, I bought my first hockey jersey, actually 4 hockey jerseys for the men in my family. Motherfuckers were expensive. There's some really great jersey spots out there. My boy's always going to him. He always sends me anyhow. Gary Davis says Fox 15 points under 232 for a little parlay action at plus 200. Jay Main says I have Robinson over 2.5 threes at home. 10 of 12 versus top 10 pace teams. Got it this morning for Jay Main doing his early work out there, putting the early action in to smash and cash the books. Let's see. I guess we can go to what do we have next? We got the Kings and the Grizzlies next. Let's talk a little, like I said, 3-game card, you guys. Kings and the Grizz. I tell you, I was a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I was a little conflicted until I realized the Kings suck. Now, the problem when you lose 16 straight games is at one point you officially hit rock bottom. Now, some people will say, do you want to catch the falling knife? Which I'm not entirely sure what that means. But I don't know. You want to predict that they're going to come out of their funk in this case? I mean, one of the things that I do like in this situation is when you fade the Grizzlies after they score 116 or more points. We talked about that. Totals over 230 and a half or 230. They tend not to fire back, but it's the Kings. And so I got to give you guys a perfect 21 straight winning trend right now. Right here, right now on the Sports Money Network. We got it. We got it set up. Let me do this here. I think it's warranted. 21 straight victories are what happens when you put two teams with equal arrest together and you just bet the favorite. How about that? Could it be any more pure? Pure as the snow that is accumulating outside of my office here. 25-3 this season. 25-3 of the season. Favorite team, equal rest, 21 straight wins. How much more do I have to tell you to get off them fucking Sacramento Kings? I mean, I know we want to fade the Grizzlies, but listen, it's tough. It's tough when you got a W21 staring you in the face. I don't want to get in the way of that. I'm not trying to catch that falling knife. I would rather assume the Kings are going to continue to do shit things that the Kings tend to do. And let's take a look at some cash flow splits here. Let's bounce that in there. I forgot to get that going here. As we kick it off, the Grizzlies open at -7.5. Now they're down to 3s. But that's where I thought we could fire. Because the money line went from -180 to -145. What are you gonna go out there and forecast the Kings are gonna? I mean, the Grizzlies aren't great. I get it. You know, looking at their record top to bottom, there's not a lot you can say. They don't want to play with John Morant. But geez, the Kings have lost 16 straight times. It's not as easy as just auto fading these boys, or is it? Now, I guess the question comes down to, do we see points? But, you know, for me, I looked at it. I said, just give me the Grizzlies. And then if you're looking for some player props, I've got some of those as well. I told you, this is the time of year where we start to see some variance. We've got accumulated stats on the season. We can see what their numbers are, how the books are moving those numbers, and then ultimately their performance in recent form as well. So one of the guys I looked at is GG Jackson. You got to look at his points. He has become the go-to weapon for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're dealing with injuries. Ty Jerome's got the illness factor going on right now on top of it. So if Jerome comes out of there, even more value on GG Jackson going out there. And, you know, the guy's on fire. His success, 25%, 27%, 36% recent games out there, 20 points in 3 consecutive games. GG Jackson over 15.5 points, ability to score. Kings defense that's vulnerable when it comes to the wing. This is a great matchup for young feller GG Jackson, especially with the barring injury out there. And then Reyna, 10.5 rebounds. Maxime, another double-double opportunity. This guy's on the Kings side. Give you 1-1. 14 rebounds against Orlando. 10.5, kind of his high watermark out there, but he's got 19, 23, 25 in his last 4 games, in 3 of his last 4 games. So, yeah, look, double-double in play for some of these players that I'm sharing with you guys. Yes, small card, but that just affords us the opportunity. Not to say we're passing, we couldn't find an edge, but to roll our sleeves up, really put in good, honest, hard work for you guys and say, listen, we're not taking corners. We're not taking shortcuts. We're not taking days off. Reynolds double-double, -145. If you look at his rebounds, 10.5 is -110. So, you know, they expect him to get there. His point number is 15.5. So I don't know about getting as far as a triple-double, but I like Reynold. I think he's a good-looking spot as well. So some more player props for you guys to consider. And then I've got the Jazz and Rockets over on Winnable. Some action over there for you guys as well. So let's see what you guys have to say there. Mr. Wesker says Grizzlies. Cameron Sinet says you can still get A Kalshi bet. Mr. Wesker says Kings are a fucking disgrace. Cameron Sinet says the Pacers are a fucking disgrace. They sure are, man. You know, I gave them out plus 2.5 yesterday. So 12-2. And those 2 losses are Pacers. Those fucks. The second leg of the back-to-back, I believe, against the Wizards, who hadn't won a second leg of a back-to-back all season. And then yesterday. And I gave them out 2.5 yesterday. And then at halftime, it went to 4.5, and I bet it again. I didn't give it out, but I bet it again, and they lose by 4. So it was like a push for me, but that's 2 losses. It's the basic. So they are a fucking disgrace. Andrew K says it is a tough board. Jay Main says the books made a call. Too many people was in Jerome. I see. So that's it. That's what we have for you guys in the NBA. Again, small card tonight, but I'm looking across the board here. I think there's some decent, despite it being a small card. Look, Nicholls State and Lamar, maybe not the game you thought you would have, but maybe the game that we all deserve, because we have one of them tricky little spots. We have 54% of the bets and 63% of the cash on Lamar. Come down a point. Nicholls State comes into this thing. They're 11-17. Lamar Cardinals 12-16. So is it too big a number? This is one of those spots where I like to get involved. You guys, I told you, these aren't NBA players. NBA players get on the road. They want to go out and have a good time. They're clubbing. They're calling the side pieces. They're rolling dice. They're doing the whole thing, right? They have a good time when they're on the road, and they got money in their pockets. These guys have $150 million mega max deals. Why the fuck not get away from the old lady, the ball and chain, and get me on the road where I can have some fun? Well, it's different in college. You got meal plans. You got certain allowances. You got curfews. You got the coach beating on you, telling you to get back in your fucking room. And then on top of it, you got back-to-back losses. So Nicholls State comes into this thing. This is going to be their 4th straight road game. That's dangerous. That's dicey. And now you're playing a team in Lamar that has 10 straight unders in the favorite role against teams that average less than 9.3 threes in a game. After a favorite, they were a -5. They did lose outright by 6. That was to New Orleans, who is playing Stephen F. Austin tonight. 4 of their last 5 have gone over, and yet Lamar's rolling in here with a double-digit under trend. Southland unders in conference have been under machines as well, 86 and 70. But I just want to get involved in the Lamar business. I just think this one comes down to a situation where we've got too many straight road games. Now, Lamar at home are 4-7-1 ATS. So they're not exactly world beating anybody. But at home against the Nicholls State team, where I suspect with 11-7 trend of the over for Nicholls State on the road, I think what happens in this case here is their defense just gasses out. And I think it's that opportunity for Lamar. Nicholls State might go out there and put some points up. Sure. 78, 70, 91 against Incarnate Word. Rio Grande Valley, they lost 92-72. This team's just not very good. And this is too many road games. Now, on the other side of things, it's not easy back in Lamar. They lost a bunch of games in a row as well. So, both these teams stink. They're both in bad form. I just think the edge in this game isn't about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and Joes. And them Jimmies and Joes are tired. I think it's going to shine through in this game for us here. So but take Lamar. I like 3.5. I like the total too. I like the under. But I like 3.5. My favorite play is the -3.5. I would lean to the under in that game for you guys as well. And we'll move into Incarnate Word in Northwestern State. It's funny. Cameron Sinet says, Mike laughs at my Kalshi bets. Ramon laughs at my Kalshi bets. And I laugh all the way to the fucking bank. I'm only laughing about the political nature of your Kalshi bets. And I don't want to get into some trouble on our new time slot here. But listen, I like it. I said this to start. I don't know if you're at the start. Over 300% gain in the portfolio in a week. So, you got to respect it. Fucking got to respect that, right? I mean, we're 3x from the start a week ago, right? We did golf, 2 weekends of golf, and then I fired off some Sean Strickland. And only reason I did those games yesterday was because I liked them so much. Those 2 games in the it wasn't the Pistons. It was the 2 NBA games there, the Celtics and Trailblazers was the other one. Excuse me. And they were knockdown dragouts. Celtics smashed. Shit odds, but it was like, all right, let me just put it all in there and double the bankroll, or 50% the bankroll, I guess, as the case may be. So there we go. Now you know. Kalshi's where it's at, man. We're going to continue on the Kalshi run as well. We're going to find more opportunities for you guys. This week, we'll be back to it with golf. Started looking at some UFC, but I don't know if MMA Jeff and Ramon got it yet. Was talking about who's going to be the champions at the end of the year, and, they weren't feeling it, so I wasn't going to push it. But I'll probably Kalshi thing because they are taking a chomp out of the ass of the Vegas books and the legal books. So why not want to be involved in there? And speaking of involved, how do you want to get involved in Incarnate Word and Northwestern State? Coin flip, -2.5. 38% of the bets, 58% of the cash. You know what? With this earlier slot here, I didn't notice if there was any sharp respected betting. Let me look. I don't think so. I don't think I got it yet. No. Not yet. But listen, we talked about Incarnate Word. This team somehow picked up a win. Again, 2 middle of the ranks. I mean, how do you jazz it up, right? It's a coin flip. If you're looking at the numbers, they're not really telling you anything. The money line hasn't really moved. It's come down 4 cents on the Northwestern State side of things. And you do have 84% of the bets and 72% of the cash coming in on Northwestern State. But hasn't moved on the Incarnate Word side. So there's not, like when I talk about the correlated movement, that's when I see the Northwestern State side comes down. I'd expect the same thing on the Incarnate Word side, but we're not seeing that. So what I've seen as a resident Incarnate Word backer, or better, I should say, in recent form, took him against New Orleans, had the over. That didn't cash. Faded him, took him against Nichols because Nichols is bad. 2.5-point favorites. They lost by 8. They lost to a shit Southeast Louisiana team. They were getting 16.5 points against McNeese. They couldn't beat them boys. The only win they've got on their current resume happens to be East Texas A&M Commerce. Now they beat them by 9. They were 3.5-point dogs. That's almost the spot that we want to be involved with, though, because now you get that buy low or sell high, I guess, right? Shit team was a dog and just covered on the road. I love isolating those spots if I can try to find a reason that makes sense. And so what that reason is simply fading Incarnate Word. Home teams against Incarnate Word between the 4s are 10-1. They've won 9 straight times. And I just told you we're on a sell high position for Incarnate Word. It's a Northwestern State spot. Now, I guess that's about it. I guess that's about all I can add to it. It's ugly. It's a close your nose. Just take the lesser of 2 evils. It is Southland. Southland unders have cashed 86 and 70. It's not quite the win rate that we're looking for with that 60%er. It's a 55% over the past year, but I'll take a Northwestern State team. At least they're 3-1 in their last 4. They did lose to East Texas A&M. It's on the road. It's 3 weeks ago. I guess I'll give them a pass in that position out there. So I'm going to go with a little Northwestern Stateage. Crazy to say it, but here we go to New Orleans and Stephen F. Austin. I realized the banner's not turned on. How come nobody told me the banner wasn't turned on? Oh, I see why. There we go. Look, it fits across the bottom. Fits so nicely across the bottom. Appreciate everybody that has tuned in. Again, new time slot Got some good feedback from you guys about moving this thing up so that we can get to the plays. There's some 6 o'clock, some 6:30 games. Just the flow in the format here, especially as we get into the summertime with baseball and some of these other sports going on here. Just felt like we're not so focused on the injury report these days, right? We're seeing that's baked more into the lines now. And we're kind of being able to anticipate, we're going to catch some surprises along the way. I've been tracking it. I don't think it's going to impact the numbers to the degree that maybe it used to a couple of years ago. I think everybody's a little bit more hip to when LBJ's playing and when he's not, right? When Luke is going to be in there and when he's not, and so on and so forth. So, and for hockey, as long as we get the starting goaltender, they got 4 lines to play with. So I'm not too concerned about that either. I was pretty surprised to hear 1960, only 17 guys were on that U.S. hockey team, because normally it's 20. 4 lines of 3 forwards is 12. 2 goaltenders gets you to 14. That leaves you 3 lines of 2 defenders for 6 to get to a 20 pack in the NHL. So surprised in 19. I was also surprised to see in 1920 that ice hockey was part of the Summer Olympics. So I don't know what to make of that either. But I got 2 more games for you guys in college hoops. We've covered quite a bit, right? We did the recap. We got like 6 player props. We got 3 NBA plays, sides and totals. We just banged off 2 NCAA games, New Orleans and Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin, show favorite, did come off a stumble this weekend here. And they got New Orleans coming into town. Now, I told you the thing about New Orleans. This team was under potential indictment, point shaving allegations. Tony's flunking TV. This team has been an over machine because now that the microscope is on them, those buckets are dropping. They're not just bouncing off the rim. Like when you were flying under the radar and everyone was shaving points, it didn't matter, allegedly. But look, the totals have come up. New Orleans got themselves, especially in the dog roll, they're 9-0 to the over. So they'll run pace. They're not very good at it, but their 13.5 points have moved to 11.5. How many points you need here? Stephen F. Austin's shown us that with the big spreads, they're, look, best cover team in basketball, in college basketball. They're 10-3 at home. They're 10-3 on the road. They're 15-5 as a favorite against the spread. But it's because of that I think that the jury is out. And it's come back with a guilty verdict now because yes, they're winning, but they're just not doing it in double-digit fashion. Look, they played Lamar. They beat them by 10. They were 8-point favorites. They ratcheted up against East Texas A&M, the shit East Texas A&M team. 15.5-point favorites. They won by a 4-pack. They were a halfie against Grand Valley on the road. They handled business. 5-5 against A&M, Corpus Christi. They win by 10, but then they move them up to 12.5 again. Nichols, that shit Nichols team that we just talked about. Nichols almost outrighted them on Saturday. And then you got New Orleans. Now, in fairness, just complete the cap and let you guys know I'm not talking out of it is their 4th straight road game. I get it. They are covering. They've covered 4 in a row. They've been coin flippy and they're winning those games. 3-1 in their last 4. I'm not going to fade them here. As much as I like New Orleans, or I'm sorry, as much as I like Stephen F. Austin, it's because we are in a performance-based environment, and that squad has been performing. But the spot that I ultimately ended up on here, with all that over talk and everything else that goes into it, is the under. 152.5. I get it. I just talked about the New Orleans side of the ball here, but they are still a big favorite. It is Stephen F. Austin. They are at home. It is their 4th game on the road. So I suspect in this case here, I don't want to say they're due for a dud, but, Monday games, unranked teams playing each other don't have a lot of zip in their step. They're 166 and 104 to the under. It is Southland. I just talked about the Southland games, 86 and 70 to the under as well. Just feels like it's a little bit on the inflated point side of things here. And it's gone up from 149.5 to 152.5 and even 153s. So I thought this is one of them spots we could get underneath it. I think New Orleans covers the line at the end of the day, just to kind of be fair and looking at both sides of it here. But I like the fact that it's come up a couple of points here. That feels like we can sneak in underneath that total as we roll on to the big one, you guys. Houston and Kansas. Cameron says, nice work. I hit Strickland 2, cashed way too big with the Medich KO 1, Strickland USA parlay. I had a couple parlays. I had some things that cashed there. I would have liked to have done better, but you know what tripped me up was the KO round 1 spots where the guys won by decision. In hindsight, they were the ones. But whatever. Just happy to get it done. This week's going to be tough, Cameron. We got work to do, man, because these lines this weekend are juicy. Man, if you look at them, minus 290. Caracate against Montenegro. That's a curtain jerker. Women's curtain jerker. There's a 3-1 favorite. Damian Pinas against Wes Schultz is 258. Fire Marshall, Francis Marshall. Let me tell you something. Minus 520. Javier Reyes, minus 225. Quinones is sitting at minus 675. I mean, these are ugly numbers, dude. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Got to work our way in there to find some. They're going to have to be finished props. King Green is a $4 dog. Tito Vera is a $2.35 dog. I mean, this is some absolutely bonkers numbers, but what's up to Groovy Alien? He's here checking in. Let's go. Appreciate all you guys tuning in here. Houston and Kansas, the new time slot. First show in the books here as we conclude this Houston and Kansas spot. Now, I'm going to tell you the big Super Monday factor. You heard it from everybody. Kansas with their coach on Mondays is what, 31-0 or something like that? I don't know. It's so irrelevant to me because everybody's talking about it. I would rather hone in on a couple other things. Now, I do like the under. Kansas 24-0 to the under. Totals 152.5 or less after a spread loss, and they shot less than 55%. So when they stumble, they bumble. Houston is 18-0 to the under. When the total's over 128.5, they allowed more than 43.5% and didn't cover the spread. Bad form keeps the under in play. Houston's been a good team. Houston's on back-to-back losses. Now, both these teams having lost on Saturday, Kansas comes in off of a loss as well. Makes it a tricky little spot. Number 2 in the land is Houston. I kind of feel like, remember when I talked about Miami, Ohio the other day, and I said with these kids that are overachieving all season long, like they get to these big spots now where it's like, they are kids. They do need a breath. Now, some people will say, well, they're 18 years old. They don't need a break. I don't mean a break. I mean a breath. There's a difference between the two, right? A break is like, I need 2 or 3 days off so that I can recover with my body. A breath is like, all right, we have to reset the compass to the next true north. And that is to try to be competitive and win the college basketball tournament. So when it comes down to it, there's like a little bit of mental fatigue that goes into this, in my opinion. This is my opinion, of course. Everything I share here is my opinion. I try to put a number and put a storyline around it for you guys, a narrative. You got a lot of money coming in. 61% of the bets and 66% of the cash have come in on Houston. It has come down a point. So there's reverse line movement. Total's gone up 2 points. There's reverse line movement there. 54% of the bets and 56% of the cash. I think, as I talk to you about taking a breath, okay? Not a break, a breath. That is the situation that Houston finds themselves in here. Look, we can talk about all the narrative with the players that you want to, right? We could talk about Calvin Sampson's teams. They bounced back. That was a home loss to Cincinnati. That was a disgusting home loss to Cincinnati. I don't know what the hell happened there. On a neutral court, they play 10 times. Houston wins 9. They got a great defense. They crushed the turnover market. Best defense and points allowed. So lower scoring game makes a lot of sense. And that kind of backs up those unders that I was talking about at the kick of this thing. But I think mental fatigue is the story of this game, and the breath versus break. Iowa State, Arizona, both strong teams, tough situations. You take an L in there as well. I mean, this is just a tough spot for Houston. Calvin Sampson hasn't lost 3 games in a row since 2017. Calvin Sampson's not on the court. Calvin Sampson's carrying the clipboard. So I think that's going to be the challenge out there right now. Yeah, that Kansas loss to Cincinnati was disgusting, but they played like their worst basketball of the year. My assumption would be because they had Houston coming up. Darren Peterson goes out there, fires up. When he's focused, he's a 20-point a game or shoots over 41% from 3. That should be enough. It should be a lower paced game. But if every shot counts and Peterson's out there throwing it out there from the 3, them points are going to drop. I think we get ourselves a preview of the Big 12 championship game here. We got a top 10 team at home. That's essentially a coin flip, and you're going to give me points. I'm going to take them. I like the under. Jerry Davis says Bill Self 40-0 on Monday. Samson never lost 3 in a row. Yes, it was back in 2017. But that being said, that's the way we're going to put the bow on the show, everybody. On the dot, 57 minutes. I want to thank you guys for being functional and flexible as we move into the new 5 p.m. time slot. We put our big boy pants on. We're better than everybody else doing it. God damn it. Let's give everybody access to the information in advance so they can grow their bankrolls. And if you want premium plays, you want best bets, you want to find a way to say, hey, thanks, man. Support me doing this stuff for you, with you, and against your bookies. You can go over to Winnable. You can get my free plays. We're 1-0 today. 1-0 on the baseball season in free plays. Get my premium best bets. I got 5 plays locked and loaded for basketball here between the NBA and college basketball. And you can find me back here tomorrow at 5 p.m. or pre-gaming. Ramon Scott will kick you off at 9 a.m. in the morning steam. I'll be back at 5 p.m. We'll recap. We'll stay accountable. We'll stay transparent. And let's stay cashing. Have a great night, everybody. And I'll see you.